Hi, welcome back to Math 111. We're going to talk about section 1.5. And in section 1.5, we're talking about something called function arithmetic. And what this really is these are the rules for combining two functions together. So we can have two different functions and we can add them together. And it's just exactly like you think it's going to be. You just combine like terms. And the same thing for subtraction and multiplication. You just multiply the two expressions together. And when we divide, we just divide the two expressions. One caveat for the division is, remember, we can never divide by 0. So that means that g of x cannot be 0. So let's take a look at this. We're just going to do some examples here. So we're going to start, we're just going to let f of x be 6x squared minus 2x. And we're going to let g of x be defined as 3 minus 1 over x. And let's just start by finding f plus g of negative 1. Now, if we look at our rules up here, you can see we've got two options. We can try to find the f plus g of x, but look at this. This says f plus g of a value is equal to f of that value plus g of that value. So it might be easier to take this and say, well, that's the same thing as f of negative 1 plus g of negative 1, which is 6 times negative 1 squared minus 2 times negative 1, because that's how f is defined, plus g, evaluated at negative 1, which is 6, because negative 1 squared is just 1, times 6 is 6, plus 2 plus 3 plus 1, which is 8, 9, 12. Right? Okay, let's look at subtraction. Same thing, same value, but I'm subtracting. So here we need to be a little careful. We start out the same, but now I need to put this 3 minus 1 over negative 1 inside a parenthesis because of that minus sign. So, oh, sorry, I'm getting scrunchy. Oops. There we go. So this is still 6 plus 2, but now it's minus 3, and this back here, this is a minus a negative 1, so that's plus 1, but then there's another minus sign out here, so that is minus 1. So we end up with 8 minus 3. 6 plus 2 is 8. Minus 3 is 5. Minus 1 is 4. Okay? All right. So let's talk about now domains. Well, actually, let's talk about what happens when we don't have a specific value. So suppose I wanted to find f plus g just of x. Maybe I was going to need to do this operation over and over and over again. Well, that is just f of x plus g of x. So we'll write this as 6x squared minus 2x plus 3 minus 1 over x, which is just that, right? It's just 6x squared minus 2x plus 3 minus 1 over x. There are no like terms to be found, to be combined there. So this is your function combination. Now, I want to talk about domain for a minute. And in this one, it's pretty easy because the domain of g says you can't have x equal to 0. And the domain of f plus g of x says you can't have x equal to 0. So the thing is that the combined function can only exist where each of the individual functions exist. And in this case, it's pretty transparent, but keep that in mind because sometimes the problems with g can disappear in the combination. All right, I'm going to come back in a separate video and talk about something called the difference quotient.